It took over 4 hours of debate before the Phoenix City Council ultimately decided to expand from 425 beds to 900 shelter beds on the Human Service Campus in downtown Phoenix. Most people support the plan. The Cattlecock Medal for Most Distinguished American Picture Book for Children was established in 1937. It's taken 83 years for an Indigenous artist to receive the medal. I spoke with illustrator Michaela Gold about the value of proper representation. The next step for Phoenix City Council action on homelessness is on February 17th. Members will consider how to use $19 million in federal funds to help alleviate the impacts of COVID-19 on the homeless population. For Cronkite News, I'm Brianna Alexander.
So I'm very well aware of what it's like to have the unsheltered as neighbors, but right now beds are the solution. These human beings deserve a safe place to go when there's no other option or support left for them.
Still, Andre House consultant Ash Us says she understands why some neighbors have concerns.
You know, for the people who live in the area, the fear is that if we add shelter beds, more people will come and that things are already out of control, as people say. And our theory of change is that if we can shelter more people, there's less people on the street, so there's less trash.
Although the Phoenix City Council agreed to increase beds, they rejected a proposal that would have added a low-barrier shelter at Andre House. Jonathan Coppell explains that type of shelter allows those who have mental health disorders, drug offenses, and other issues a place to go.
That shelter would be more accessible, so it would let people bring pets. It would let people bring a lot of stuff. It would let people come in 24 hours a day, and that's an important addition because there are certain people who can't be accommodated in the shelters that we currently operate.
Phoenix City Council member Michael Nowakowski says poor neighborhoods are willing to help the homeless, but should not have to shoulder the higher burden of a low-barrier shelter.
I'm letting you know that these individuals that live in trailer parks, that live in our public housing, that live in poor neighborhoods, probably the poorest of the poor, that they have a voice too, and that they want to be heard. And they want to make sure that the homeless individuals are taken care of, and they're willing to go from 425 to 900 beds. And that says a lot for the poorest of the poor.
Amy Schwabenlander is executive director at the Human Service Campus. She says advocates for the homeless will continue to seek to help the neediest of the needy.
You know, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep problem solving and think creatively about how to find solutions. I feel like I say I'm sorry to people every day, though, because I can't fully help them.
Michaela Gold is the first Native American to win the prestigious Randolph Cattlecock Medal for her illustrations in We Are Water Protectors, a children's book inspired by Indigenous-led movements across North America.
Children are seeing what we are telling them is important and valued. So if we can give them diversity and inclusion, that helps not only, like in my case, since I work in Indigenous Kidlit, it not only helps Indigenous children feel seen and valued and important, it also helps non-Indigenous children and adults see a whole range of lived experiences.
The book shows Indigenous activists who led protests like the one by the Standing Rock Sioux tribe against the Dakota Access Pipeline.
I really wanted to make Standing Rock water protectors and water protectors around the world proud, and I wanted them to feel seen. And then within that, you know, there's a lot of other elements I wanted to bring forward and really speak for Mother Earth.
Her goals were to give Indigenous people an authentic voice, highlight the beauty of nature, and the need to work together.
Indigenous people really protect and are stewards of the land, and they protect so much of the world's biodiversity. And so I think listening to them and taking their lead and helping support them and learning how to be an ally is incredibly important.
Sean George is a South Region Manager for the Phoenix Public Library System. He says it's important for Indigenous people to be correctly represented in books.
I myself am mixed blood Choctaw and Muskogee, as well as European American heritage. So it's it's a very important topic to me. People come to literature for a lot of different reasons, but very often it involves looking for some sort of reflection of our own experience in what we read, so that we can feel some sort of affirmation or validation, but also important is to see the rest of the world, or perhaps other worlds outside of our experience.
George, a former youth librarian, says children have been hurt by Native American stereotypes.
I've known children that have expressed a lot of pain and frustration over seeing, books that describe or represent indigenous people and children as, as less than, or books about the frontier where they're treated, the stereotypes of savages and things like that. And that really does. I mean, I've known children who have said that that's not the way our culture is. That's not the way my family is. That's not the way my grandparents were.
That's why George appreciates Gold's work.
To see a book show you a mirror when you've gone so long and never seen one, it's a huge impact. So very personal.
So I've heard from a lot of wonderful people, and I do think it's inspiring, Native youth and non-Native youth. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because I might be the first, but I definitely won't be the last. And that is a really, really wonderful thing.
The Phoenix Public Library is returning to limited in-building services for 8 of their 17 branches today, more than a year after the pandemic forced a new normal. Community Relations Manager Lee Franklin says it will help restore the library's core mission.
One thing that we were very proud of and worked really hard during this last year to try to replicate that library experience as much as possible through curbside and virtual. But we know that there are some things that just can't be replaced, that our customers can enjoy in an in-building visit.
Patrons will be allowed back into the building in the afternoons to use computers, check out books, and borrow laptops. Franklin says a priority is to eventually bring back a full library experience while also ensuring the safety of their customers and staff.
We're going to require masks and social distance. We've installed health shields at our customer service point of contact. We will also have health shields in between the computers. We know that's a big service that a lot of our community needs from the library.
Phoenix Public Library liaison Geraldine Hills says library leaders collaborated with health advisors on safety protocols like laptop loans and Wi-Fi that extends to library parking lots.
We've tried to be creative and give people options. So if they really still aren't comfortable coming into a building to do, like you said, file taxes, whatever, that's why we have hotspot lending now. People can come in and use their library card to check out a hotspot. They can sit in the parking lot and do it from doing our Wi-Fi using the car.
Hills and Franklin believe the libraries are ready to welcome patrons back inside.
I'm very proud with our library family at Phoenix Public Library. From within moments of having to close to in-building visits, everybody really just jumped in to figure out how can we continue to be the library for people.
And they want to serve the community as safely as possible. And Phoenix